Welcome back to the channel, folks. Good morning. I am drinking coffee again. Well, that's pretty typical. But today it's in a new mug. That's right. I am sporting the New England Industrial Division mug. That's right. My video that I had posted for the 5K challenge actually came in 4th place, which isn't too shabby as far as I'm concerned. So that warranted getting a prize, and I was given the option of shirts and mugs and stuff like that. And I figured, you know what? I got a lot of shirts as it is. I got a lot of mugs too, but I don't have too many railroad mugs. And I think that this is kind of fitting for the channel and for just being in the room, because it's railroad, as far as I'm concerned, it's railroad involved, whatever the word is. It's too early in the morning. Sun still isn't even up yet, so. Anyways, let's get into it. Today we're just going to get into a few things, just finalizing the front fascia, and kind of going over maybe a little bit of the bridge and the scenery that I've done. So this one, like I said, should be pretty quick, and I guess let's hop to it. All right, so now that the grass is laid, this is built, everything in front here is done. To this point anyways, where I want it to be. I want to work on the fascia. So what I'm going to do, it was very simple with doing this part because it was basically 2x4 and, you know, plywood and the foam. So just get the measurement and it was straight across. But I've got the sculpting now involved as well. So what I need to do is I need to first take this off. This is the controller for the storm. So I need to take that off to start, and then I have cut it's actually the box from that bookcase there. It is almost long enough to go from right in the corner to over here. So I'll just have to make it just a smidgen longer when I actually cut the board over there. But I'm going to put this up against here. I've got some clamps that I will clamp underneath, and that way I can get the proper cutout for the dip there, and I will trace along here on the back of the cardboard, and then I will cut the cardboard and use it as a template to put onto the blackboard is what it is. All right, so now there you go. You can see I've got the clamps on here, and it's just that much too short, but this will work well enough that I will just add that extra little bit, and if there's any overhanging on this side, I can just cut it off at a later point. But the big thing is I want to be able to get this sculpt here. That is really what I'm more worried about. And then coming under here, because there's a good, I don't know, inch and a half difference than down under here. So we will go ahead and mark that with a trusty old Sharpie. All right, as you can see, I've got the basic bottom here and then the hill top there. So now it's just a matter of cutting this cardboard. All right, so that cut seems to work pretty well. Just as I kind of expected, there's some gap there. Of course, this is a flap too, so it's hard to say exactly how much of a gap there's going to be, but I'm basically just going to end up having to fill that in with some spackle or something, some gypsylite, and just kind of beef it up. So the big thing is I've got the nice flat and curvature and everything here all lined up, so that will work well enough for my liking. And then I do have that little gazenta there kind of mapped out as to how wide it is, so I'll just add that onto the final cut. All right, so we're gonna try this out. I'm thinking I might take my circular and do kind of this section where it's straight, and then when I get to this point here, I'll get to the router. Haven't used a router yet, honestly. I tested it once and went okay, I guess. But yeah, I got my Sharpie here. I had to make sure that I really thought about this, because knowing the way I usually think, I would have just put this facing me and then I would have cut it backwards. So the white goes to the layout side, black is on the outside, and the label side of the cardboard was facing me, so therefore I should have it right. So I've got this lined up with the corner just to make sure everything is square there, so I will start marking that off and going from there. I'm not sure if I want to just put the router along here as well, or if I want to take this off and just freehand it, but we will see after I mark it. You ever heard that a song that's on like some memes usually, and it goes along the lines of time to do some sketchy stuff? Pretty much what I did here. So I tried using the router, and I didn't feel like I was going to get a straight enough cut because I had nothing to really brace myself with or anything like that. So I decided to do the straight cuts. You can kind of see along there where I started. I'm like, yeah, that's not good. I can clean that up a little bit. I think I just got to shave off a little bit there, and then that will be hidden with some black caulking. I did under here. I'm still not a very, that's my stable hand. Yeah, I can't cut worth it. And then the for the blocker on the that's an old circular that I've got. I can't find the little screw that tightens down the, what the hell is it called? Bridge, not bridge, but part that, you know what I'm saying. But so that's all freehand. Well, that isn't. That's original. And then I cut this with this here. Got that in there. This blade is floppy, but did all of this with the circular saw, and I can touch it up with a little bit of man, I'm losing all my words today. Sandpaper. But in here, I'm going to get in here with a little bit more with this thing cut through, and then try to take that out, and then go and test fit it and see how well it looks. And if it doesn't work, well, then I got more there, and I got another sheet upstairs, and I know exactly where Home Depot is. All right, well, here we go. We're going to see together if I've got at least the right idea of shape. And I think we are pretty much right there. Let me go ahead and clamp these down and find out why the dog is barking. All right, there we go. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I noticed that, I don't know if this is something I did, but it kind of chipped a little bit there, and which I didn't cut over there, so there's a little bit of chipping there. There's a little bit there from where I did the router, but it's not even the same material that everybody uses. I've recently found out what that was. I could never figure it out. I saw this blackboard, and it worked well enough over here, so I'm perfectly fine with it. Like I said, in these corners, I got some black caulking that I'm just going to stick a little bead down each side, and in those corners as well. Probably tidy up everything that I can. And I will black out, get black paint or whatever, and black out the top of these, or green or something, I'm not sure. I think what I need to do, I think I need to trim this a little bit back. I think when I put the plaster cloth on, I think it overhung a little bit. So I gotta take a look at that. I might be able to cinch it up a little bit closer, because you can, yeah, I think so. You can kind of see in there. No, you know what? That might be the, plywood, but I'll figure it out. One way or another, it will be a little bit better because that's got a, that's got a heck of a gap there. But with this off, when it straightens out, it's a lot less. So I'll, you know what I did before, because I had a similar problem over here on this side. This board here was a little bit on an angle compared to what this cut was. So I just put a shim back there. So I'll do the same over here. I'll just shim out the bottom of that and make that flush. And then that will bring this side back in considerably. And you know what? I mean, yeah, I am feeling right there. There's a pretty good lip there. So I will trim that back. And that will definitely help out. So, and there you have it. The fascia is done. I've got it all the way around. I've got it on the bridge. I'll touch on the bridge in a minute. Got the button for the storm back in place. But I always did wonder, you know, what people were using for their fascia. I could never figure it out. I know some people paint them. Some people leave it as straight up wood. I could never figure it out. I'd go to Home Depot and I could never find what they were using. And I ended up finding this. And all this is, if anybody is wondering, it is a 3/16 2 foot by 4 foot chalk and whiteboard. Didn't know what it was. I was searching all over. I couldn't remember where I found it. I was looking over by, you know, the wood paneling and everything like that, thinking that there were bigger pieces. And I ended up finding, of course, you know, stores might be, you know, differ from location to location, but this was actually found on an end cap over basically at the end of the lumber area over by like the roofing insulation. They've got the smaller sheets of plywood, the little squares like 2x4s or 2x2s or whatever. And that's where this was. So technically on the back side, it's the whiteboard, and then on the side that I use is blackboard. So technically, if I'm doing ops or whatever, I could get some chalk and technically write on this and scrub it off, but I'm not going to do that because you know how blackboard starts to look after a while. I've also done all the Scenic at this point on this section, as I mentioned in my long video that I stopped at the bridge because that was a good stopping point. And I was starting to feel like I was rushing through it and not doing the greatest of job as I could. And now it's not actually done. I still need to put down some static grass, which I did some over here. But I've got to do that over here. I got to get some bushes, right? Right now, these are just kind of placeholders because I'm trying to figure out how much I want. Because I don't want too much of a scene break. I've got a lot of scene break over here. I don't really pay attention. I usually pull that seat out and sit there and have my coffee. So I don't really pay attention back there, but there's enough scene break there. This is nice and open, and it's nice sitting over here and just watching in the distance the train come across. And then it does get blocked by this. A little bit of hill pops out over the bridge and then gets hit by this hill and then comes back out. But I don't want too much scene break here because it's the whole point in sitting down is to watch the train go by. So I got to work on the backdrop. I do have the, what I call is, what do you mean Cletus ain't home scene here. We got Bubba over here in the blue truck comes by because I guess Cletus did the nasty with his wife or something. And they're just common law anyways. But I got that little mobile home at the train show a couple of years ago. I think it was at the train show a couple of years ago. And I really wanted to put it on layout somewhere. So it works out nicely in this section here. I believe the outhouse came from Woodland Scenics. This is a Woodland Scenics barbed wire fence. I believe that's Woodland Scenics junkyard cars or something like that. I can't remember where the tree came from. The pickup truck I got at the train show, as mentioned in the video that I had the other day. Same with those trees. But I do like having that tree line there, so I'm not sure. I've got to work on a backdrop. I do want it to be kind of an open field going out, so we'll see. Those trees might kind of migrate a little bit more through here, and I might get some other ones back there or something. I've left this part blank here, so that way I can take the connectors and slide them back, pull the bridges off, and do what I need to under there, because I still need to do a little bit of work. But once all that's done, then I can come back and ballast that up and finish that off. And then we get down here to where the bridge is, and I've gone to Home Depot and I got basically a plug, like a household plug, junction box type thing. And I had these in here. Like I said, these holes here were for the DCC connections. They were the dowels, powered dowels. And I've kind of scrapped that, at least for now, just because it wasn't working out. I didn't have the right tools to make the holes the way they needed to be. So I just went with the wires, which are back here, you can see. And unfortunately, I thought that I could get away with the skinnier junction box, but I should have gotten the thicker one, because you can see I had to drill out the back and the wires stick out. But that's not a very big deal because it is hidden. I did paint the face plate and got those in there for the banana. Are they the banana clips? I think so. Did basically the same over here. Kind of did a paint job around it. I've still got to come under here and paint there, but that is all painted. I still got to kind of come up here too. I just realized, but I can deal with that when I do the Scenic over here. But I'll place you down here like that, and then I will come over and pick up the layout, or the bridge, which typically goes in pretty nice and easy. Just like that. Everything lays out. I will suggest that if anybody puts in a bridge, they really try to not put a curve into it. If you do this side, I don't have very much problems. This is a little higher here. I'm going to have to take this side and raise it up a little bit because I do have a little bit of a jump there. But I used the snap track, and that seems to be doing a lot better than over here. This side I really don't want to talk about, but this rail here, I don't know if you can kind of see it in the video, but it sticks out just a little bit, and if I push it back in, it works. But that's because it's the flex track, and it's got a little bit too much tension on it. And honestly, I thought this would be a good idea to kind of have it coming over the side here, and then I cut it on an angle instead of straight down. I cut kind of a back cut. And I really wish I wouldn't have done it. You can see I got to push it over just a little bit to make sure it's in alignment, but it's not too big of a deal. But I do wish that I would have just cut it straight off the bridge and not had that, because that is going to definitely be problems in the future more than it is now. Worst it is now is, I think, like a 6-axle will derail coming this way, and like a 4-axle might derail going that way. I can't remember. This track usually does pretty good. Ooh, that's a little loose. Yeah, so anyways, that I know is going to cause me problems in the future. Nobody has to tell me, I know already. And then we come underneath here, and we just sit there and plug these in like so, and then we are good to go. We got power to the bridge. So not exactly how I wanted it to be. I wanted to be able to just pull it out and walk, pull it, walk, put it back in. But this works as well. And tell you what, once the locomotives get past at least a certain point, they got to keep alive. But once they get off, the rest of the train can be on there, and I can pull the wires, and then as soon as it passes, I can lift up and walk out. So it's not like it was the end of the world the way that I had to do it. So there you have it. We are up to date. I think we are actually like 100% caught up to date. I've been kind of playing catch up since I started the channel, and now I actually don't have any new footage to splice together after this video, but we're moving along. Like I said, I had to kind of take a break from doing the scenery just because I felt like I was starting to get stagnant and stall out, and so it was a good time to take a break. Watch the train go around and around for a little bit, got my head back into the game. So I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every one of you. And we are at 95 subscribers already, and I don't even think the channel is a month old. I am absolutely ecstatic about that, because when I started my main channel, my first channel, it took a while, and I remember being so happy that I got to 200. I made a thank you video for 200. It was a 200 air horn salute, I think it was. Driving down the road, I blew the semi's air horn 200 times. It was a little annoying by the time it was done, but it was a cool video. But yeah, it took a while to get. That was back in like 2006, though. So I mean, when YouTube first started, so it was a little different world back then. But I appreciate all of you subscribing already this quick, and hopefully I can grow the channel even more. So thank you again for watching, and please leave a comment, subscribe, whatever the case is, and we will catch you on the next one. Happy railroading.